everybody, to the first ever episode of the Guild Wars 2 Arena Labs PvP podcast. I am your host, Sneakers, joined by my two lovely co-hosts, Craola and Teoroth.
Hello.
Yo.
So, how are we doing, boys? You doing well? Excited?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Sneaks, how are you doing?
I'm not too bad, you know. I'm excited to get this all started. It's exciting times. I think the PvP community kind of needs this. There's no real PvP podcast or dedicated podcast out there, or dedicated constant content. Obviously, there's YouTubers, fantastic YouTubers and things like that, but as of creating a discussion and talking about PvP, there isn't really much there.
Yeah, hopefully will be more after this one.
So I think we're going to begin the whole kind of journey which we're going to go on is a bit about talking about ourselves. We'll explain what our aims are with the podcast. I know our aim is to essentially help the community grow as PvPers, become better players, along with ourselves. Like we're by no means the best players. I would say I'm maybe slightly above average. I'm keen to get better. Personally, I know you guys.
Yeah, I'm very mediocre.
Yeah, but our hope is to create a platform where we can get players on, create discussion, and essentially improve the overall community. Because
that's a lovely introduction, Snicks.
So thank you, man. But let's talk a little bit about ourselves so people know who's behind the mic, and so yeah, a little bit more personal. So let's talk about let's move on to Craola. You've been quiet a little bit in that intro. You're more of our seasoned veteran player compared to me and Teoroth. You've been playing the game a hell of a lot longer than both of us. What sort of tell us a little bit about yourself as a player.
Here we go again. Yeah. So I've played for 5-6 years, maybe. PvP definitely for 5 years. I've played mostly Angie. I love PvP. I love everything about it, just except the meta, of course, and Condi. I hate Condi.
Living that power life. So
yeah.
So obviously you said that most of your games are on NG. Is that are you playing Hollow mainly? Well, I suppose I know what you're playing, but what are you enjoying playing the most at the moment? Like, what's your go-to class?
At the moment, my go-to is kind of everything.
Yeah, bit of jack of all trades.
Definitely.
You just play whatever the team needs.
Well, because finally I got a computer, right? Well, a good computer. Because I used to play on 25 to 30 FPS. For all these years. So a couple months ago, I finally got a computer that runs like 60 FPS. It's still lagging a bit if I'm recording, but at least it's better now, so I can play whatever.
Nice. I'll just be quiet about my my PC then. Not make you jealous. Oh yeah,
I earned my stripes the hard way, I'd say.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. What was your favorite out of all the metas? Because obviously it's shifted through. You've played when it was Core, you've played Heartphones, you played through Path of Fire. What would you say is your favorite sort of meta as such as it's gone through?
You know what? I think same as anything else that's that has like a sort of a franchise or a path to it. You know, whatever new thing comes to it, it's exciting. So. Core was really cool when it was just Core. Heartphones was really cool when it was Heartphones. Path of Fire is really cool when it was Path of Fire.
Awesome. Right, Teoroth, moving on to you.
Hello.
You're kind of a new player like me. Well, relatively new player.
Yeah.
So how long have you been playing the game?
5 months. I think couple days less than 5 months, around that.
Now, the reason we know each other is because in that 5 months you've gone from almost zero to hero.
Not quite, but trying my best.
For a lot of players who have played the game for only 5 months, what in your first? Because I know the answers to all these, but what is your highest achievement in your? Well, you've done one PvP season, was it? Like one full PvP?
Well, this is my second 5 versus 5 season currently, but I did play the 2 versus 2. Yeah, I came in the 2 versus 2.
Okay.
And I did 3 versus 3 as well. My biggest achievement was, I think, getting into top 250 on 3 versus 3, but no one cares about it, so it's a minor achievement.
Still, so what did you reach in your first ever 5v5?
Plat 2 I finished it, but barely. Plat 2.
Still, that's impressive for your first ever PvP season to reach Plat 2. That's no small feat.
Thank you, kind sir.
Yeah, and Akin's always on point.
Yeah. So what character do you play? Like,
I played when I first started the PvP. I started with Necro because I heard that it's easy to pick up. I deleted it in next 2 hours. I made a Firebrand after. I quite enjoyed it. It was feeling complex to play, at least for the first time, but it didn't suit my playstyle, so I made a ref. I kind of abused the Conda ref on 3 versus 3, but it was good for me to get a hang of what's going on, you know?
Okay, that's awesome.
Currently, I'm playing Power Ref, and I'm enjoying it quite a much. And hopefully, with this new changes to Chronomancer, I'm willing to try that one as well. Seems very fun to me.
Okay, well, we're going to get onto the topic of Chronomancer and a few other things later on. But yeah, that's pretty interesting.
What about you, Sneaks?
So, I'm a pretty hardcore PvP player. I would definitely describe myself. Whatever game I play, I kind of gear myself towards PvP. I have quite a competitive mindset. In regards to Guild Wars, I've been playing Guild Wars 1 probably for the full duration it came out, especially PvP. I've only just recently let go of the game, and even then I still log on to help Craola when he summons me for the story. But yeah, I played Guild Wars 1 fairly competitively. GVG, I was in a couple of gold trims and silver trim guilds, bounced between a lot of guilds, had an R7 in hero title on my account. PvP is my jam. I love theory crafting. I love working together as a team. I love the competitive environment. I just thrive in. It was a little bit of a jump playing Guild Wars 1 and then moving over to Guild Wars 2 it's a bit of a dramatic jump in regards to play style and getting used to it. Craola will agree with that. He did the reverse from Guild Wars 2 to Guild Wars 1. But for me, it was a huge jump. And originally, I came in Heart of Thorns. I was playing casually with a couple of guilds back in the day. Never PvP, but it never clicked. And then this year, I decided, come on over. I'll give it a try, and jumped straight into jumped into World v World. Found a cool guild. Shout out to Heroic Penguins. Still with them guys for World v World and chilling with those guys. But I went into PvP. I did my placements. I didn't really understand what was going on. It was a tough learning curve going from Guild Wars 1 to this. And I ended my placements, end up in Silver 2, end up dropping to Silver 1. And for me, I was like, not having this. I started getting over excited about PvP. Watching streams, watching videos, guides. I chose Thief as my class because I wanted a role that I didn't really have to rely too much on my team. I could fulfill it by myself.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
Yeah, dog in the background. It's okay.
Yeah, he's great.
He wants to be on the podcast. But no, I chose Thief for that reason. Learned a lot. Started asking questions on streams. I know on Blamthrax's Twitch stream, I think that's where I met Craola and then Chuckles, who we used to play with. Started building the team up from there, met you guys on there, and eventually just started picking my way up. And I got up to my first season from Silver 1 to 1 game away from Plat. So it was 5 minutes left of the season. I got into a game.
Come on.
It breaks me every time I tell this story. And a berserker on my team goes, I am new to the game. And inevitably we lost. I threw a tantrum at 1 in the morning. Season's over. And here I am. So yeah.
Nice, Sneaks. This season you will get it.
I will get it if I can find time with work. Now I'm back to work. But yeah, it's fun. But I think we've got lots of plans for this podcast and this platform. I know Craola, he's kind of he almost kind of got us all together.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start making content, and we've got a little bit of a not a sneaky plan. It's already in the works, isn't it? It's the in-house leagues, Craola.
It should in no way be a sneaky plan.
Yeah, it's not really a sneaky. It was a sneaky plan, but now it's a public plan. It's wide and out in the public. So tell us more about these in-house leagues, Craola, because this is kind of it originated with you, and you're kind of getting a lot more people involved.
No, I think it's on minds of many.
Mm.
But it's I just thought it'd be cool actually trying to do it because, you know, we met a couple months ago, and that's a nice segue, right? Like you saying you almost reached plat and how frustrated you are because you got a potato on your team, right? Everybody gets a potato on their team, you know. And if your potatoes are getting farmed harder than you're farming the enemy potatoes, you're gonna lose that game, and you're gonna rage or something if you really care about raiding. And you know that's okay. That's okay because you're taking the free time out of your life to actually play the game, right? So if you're not being rewarded, you can play godly and still lose because of the potatoes. So maybe a good thing is to teach the community how to actually play the game, what to actually look for, what not to do, what to do. Maybe a bit better, right? So yeah, that's the segue into the in-house leagues.
So
1v1 is a really important part of this game, like PvP wise.
So
a lot of
tell us about so go into a bit more detail with the in-house leagues, because it's really interesting that you say that you want to teach the community how to play the game, and hopefully we can do that. So
yeah, I think a lot of people are actually doing it. Shout out to, I think it's Craola. I don't know how to pronounce exactly, but I've been told by a couple players they've been doing 1v1s for some time now in the arena, like tournaments, and I saw it on the forums as well. But I remember him playing the Groucho tournament, and even before that, you know. So there's a lot of this happening probably still, and a lot of people joined up. That's the main reason why I wanted to do it, because a lot of people are saying this is a good idea and let's just go for it, right? So the big part of this is not just to get a lot of players into a 1v1 situation or 5v5 in a controlled build environment, right? But to actually talk about it and commentate on the gameplay, on the 1v1 happening, on a specific 1v1, specific 2v2, specific 5v5. Just get people to talk and interact, you know, not get the community to do good for itself, you know, to get decent players that want to get better, even better, from really decent players that know a little bit.
That was it.
You know, and it's these little things that really help it.
Yeah, that was a really interesting way what you kind of called it. You called it a gym, which I think is a brilliant way. It's essentially a place where people can go and train with top players and actually not have a coach, but just go into the gym and almost have a spot, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You go in and spot me, bro.
PvP wise, UFC is a good metaphor, because you got the gym, right? Where, you know, if you want to be a good fighter, top fighter, you're gonna have to be there every day. Not even so long. You know, if anything you're doing, you just got to do it at least 10 minutes a day, right? But if you're actually wanting to get better, you gotta practice in it instead of going into these stupid games, you know, where you can't test stuff out. Actually, even if you're trying to get better, you could actually have a server dedicated every night from, I don't know, 7 to 11 or whatever, where you have people that 1v1, and people are streaming there, you know, talking about what's actually going on, so you can learn. You know, if you're a warrior, you can see warrior 1v1, and you can see what to watch out for, and you can test yourself. And to further this agenda of this podcast, this is what we're gonna be doing on this channel as well, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna be posting these videos, posting these streams, shouting out everything. So we're gonna get trying to get going as much as we can.
Yeah, because for those who've never really watched PvP or watched, because the animations, if we're all honest, can be a little bit tricky to see, and it's hard to know what's going on, or when you should be using certain skills against certain classes, and having someone who knows how to play that class commenting on what someone's doing is huge. I know Syndra for his Thief, when he's streaming, and when he's streaming Thief, it's I love watching that stream, because he explains in detail his thought process of why he's going over, and that's essentially what we're trying to get for all the classes as it's all fighting. So creating that discussion, and as you said, making a gym for everybody to go get better.
Yeah, because you know what, there's so many players that are really good at this game, and it's not such an easy thing getting good, you know. It has a really high skill cap. If you see these warriors, true mechanical beasts fighting him, it's so nice to see this. And if it would be actually commented upon such a player, you know, of that caliber, it would be a really nice thing to see.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
So that this is it.
But transitioning into that sort of thing. I know we recently. Let's get onto the. I might as well get onto the meaty, obvious talking point of the podcast, which is the update. We're not going to go into the nitty gritty details of each change of the entire update. If you want to watch or want to listen to someone do that, I know Mighty Teapot has done an excellent video on going through all the changes.
Wooden potatoes with boots.
Potatoes. Yeah, there's lots of videos out there. We'll probably
Holtz did a Reaper video.
Yeah.
Or a Necro video.
Yeah, so there are more out there. We're going to be talking about some changes that we've stuck out
So
for
this
us.
this is the shout out segment.
Yeah, so that is the shout out segment to all those who've done really good videos on the update and gone through it in more detail. We're going to talk about specific changes that have stood out to us and what we've had a little bit of hands-on experience during this week. So I think the big one is, which for me, well, I think in the community, is the Necro changes. There's quite a few interesting changes to Necro specifically, which we've been experimenting with Craola. We've had some dangerous builds coming out through it.
We didn't expect it, but it's so strong.
Yeah. The obvious one is Scourge is now viable again, getting its shades back. That was the big thing. So Scourge, we're going to be seeing a lot more Scourge coming out.
Which I do hope Condi Scourge is not a thing, because that's disgusting.
Yeah, like today on the ranked I saw a couple of Condi Scourges, like Sage probably.
Yeah.
Sage is probably the thing that's going to be the go-to. But
it's very disgusting.
Power Scourge, it's like it was okay. It was fun to play, but it was never viable. I think Scourge is still susceptible to power. If you burst down a Scourge because it doesn't have the backup life force, but currently with the new trait Blood Bank, which is the update, you cannot. So if you've got a support, if you get overhealed, you're getting barrier for fun. It's pretty crazy. So that's something that's dangerous. We're going to be seeing a lot more Scourges. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I know, Akin, you weren't happy with the AoE spam. It's a big problem.
I'm sincerely not. And I see it on the Guardian. What's it called? Excuse me. What's the thing called? Symbols. Okay. The core guards. They're spamming so much symbols on the ground. It's not very pleasant as well. To play around.
Yeah, I think AoE spam is. I'm in two minds, because you would need to have access for newer players and people who are struggling with builds, but at the same time, the risk reward, which we've gone about this, we could do a whole episode on this. I can smash down huge AoE spells in a zone like Skyhammer and not even have to click a target or follow them or train them or try and avoid them. Like if they're kiting, or just smash down a couple of AoEs and they can't kite. But the same, it doesn't have the backup life force. I'm in two minds about it. Like, what do you guys think with Scourge?
Scourge, I don't know, man. I think it's good to see more viable builds of one core class, like Core Necro is viable, Reaper is viable, and Scourge is kind of viable, I guess.
Yeah, I love that they've done that.
This is something good, I guess, but I'm not really happy that.
This is what you said yesterday.
Too much funk here, I guess.
Yeah,
like Scourge is so hard to kill. Core Necro, they have some well build going on. I see. They are so hard to kill. Core Guard is very hard to kill. DH is very hard to kill.
Yeah.
Scrapper is hard to kill. I don't know, man. Condra was very hard to kill. It still is, but they are a little bit tuned down. I don't know. It feels like everything is very hard to kill right now.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to that Scourge point of what you I think we were talking about this yesterday on Discord. And I like, from a game design point of view, I love what they've done with Necromancer. As you said before, Core Necro is viable, Reaper's viable, and Scourge is viable. I don't think that's like, if you're not going to run one a bit and see one on your team like, oh my god, why is he running that? All three are viable. Brilliant from a game design choice. From a selfish point of view, I hate Condis. So Core Necro and Scourge can go die. Reaper I'm fine with, but moving on to Reaper, we made the Dread build. That's the other big change isn't it? The having access to a load of Like, what was it? Quickness. Quickness, I couldn't even think of the boon then. But yeah, they have access to quickness every time you fear someone. Dangerous. You could have Lich Form, quickness. Disgusting DPS. On top of that, you have the extra might. You can stack 20 stacks of might for fun. It's pretty dangerous if you run Spite with Reaper instead of Blood Magic.
Reaper is so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm going to, honestly, if for those who are listening and want to try and mix up their Reaper build, throw on Spite. You run, I know you run the middle trait, and you run the, I can't remember what it's called, the one which gives
Awaken the Pain
Awaken
and Dread.
Dread, and what was the first one, which gives you might on hit, I think. So every time you're using your auto attack, you get might. You get might from going into Shroud, and it's disgusting. Yeah, try it.
Yeah, Awaken the Pain. That's
dirty. Just try that.
Then we Dread the quickness.
Right, let's get off Necro because I don't like talking about it. It makes me salty.
So, all right, core.
What else
core
stood out for you guys?
buffs.
So you said core range got some buffs or something?
Yeah, core burn energy actually.
Oh, core burn energy.
Decrease in cooldown, but it doesn't really matter. Hollow still trumps it, but it's a fun build. I have many games on.
Yeah, they buffed core. I think they tried to make core NG more viable, but Hollow is still just too good. It's too
insane.
good. It's at a place where it needs the tone down. There's no two ways about it. It needs toned down somehow. We're not going to suggest fixes because we're not game developers, but we can say it's overperforming in the damage department. Absolutely. I think we're all in agreement with that, and I think most.
Well, the grenades are just insane damage, right?
Yeah.
And the sustain is insane as well.
Yeah. But no, there's some interesting changes there. You were mentioning Revenant before, Akin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
Condivan finally got nerfed. I'm very happy with it, so I don't have to play it anymore.
Yeah. You were buzzing that we could potentially have to change you off in our team comp.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Also, Renegade got hit pretty hard as well.
Yeah, but I see today I played with some bunker renegades again, and
Is that Ventari?
they were performing very decent.
Ventari
No, not
bunkers?
Ventari. It was Kala and Worstens.
Oh, okay. So the standard bunker, it's still strong. Like, don't get me wrong, they toned it down. They did exactly what they said they're going to tone it down. It's still very strong, the bunker rev, but it's not as strong, which is good. I'm all for that. So it's still viable, but it's not insanely stupid. Like, people can agree to disagree, but they reduced it. They nerfed things down. They did lower everything. You can't complain, really.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys faced it, but there's a very high DPS renegade build in PvP too.
Is that the Shiro one?
Yes, Shiroan. Yeah, it's like I don't know, 20k out of nowhere.
Oofed.
I couldn't get into the build, but yeah, it seems like an interesting build to be honest.
You've piqued my interest. That we will have to dig further on that one. I know Thief got hit a little bit. If I'm on it, I have noticed a drop in the Condi Thief capability. It still is to the point where if you get hit by it if you're not keeping an eye out for the Condi Thief, you're still going to get hit with your pants down. You're still going to get burst down, but it's not as obnoxious. So the burst, it's still mash Condis. It's still got that horrible burst, but it's not as potent because they removed the leeching venoms, which doesn't actually affect the power Thief, which I thought it was gonna. But it's good. It's okay.
Yes, on paper it sounds like that, but I don't feel any lack of anything from Condi Thief when I face them as a power. I was dying in 1 second. If I get caught out of nowhere, I am still dying in 1 second.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, the Condi Thief is obnoxious, but I feel like it did tone it down a bit. I would like it toned down further because of the risk reward going on. You press F1, you press 3, and they're dead. 2 buttons is done.
To be honest, the burn guard is disgusting too.
Yeah, burn guard again.
Condi damage, that makes Condi damage anywhere pretty disgusting.
Yeah, Condis as a whole, we could do a whole topic of that. We just don't like the tick over time because usually it's sustain. It's just matched with sustain, so they can just live through my power burst, laugh at me, apply a ton of Condis, then I die in 3 seconds. But yeah, we could do a whole topic on that one.
Yeah, I agree with the sustain part as well. If they want to do something to Condi Thief, well, they don't want to kill it. It's kind of obvious, I guess. But if it was the intention, I think they need to do something about Shadow Arts.
Yeah.
If they do it, it will be because it can survive if you can't catch it.
Yeah,
off guard.
Shadow Arts is still good. Like for the traits that I run,
I think Shadow Arts is fucking amazing, both Conde and for power. But we can say that probably power thief players will be happy to take Deadly Arts instead of it.
I'd be happy with Deadly Arts. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But no, do you want to know what my actual favorite change in this entire balance patch? It's actually the Ellie change for the fire trait. Like, it's insane. The Pyromancer's Persistent. So instead of running the blind foes when you burn them, you run the Pyromancer's Persistent or Flame Explosion. I can't remember what it is. And basically, every time you go into, or you pop a fire skill, I think it is, you grant might, and when you leave the attunement or you overload, you grant even more might to your team, and then you can easy stack on like 15 stacks of might or plus onto your team. And if you combine that with the Reaper, who can stack like 12 stacks of might just by going into his shroud and pressing 1, it's in. And if you've got a power comp, oh my lord, it's disgusting.
We tried that out yesterday.
We were running like a berserker Reaper for fun,
which is not a good.
It's not good, but the damage you're running around like 6k auto attacks. So
7k on the Reaper, but on the Shroud, but it's just not good if you're in a game.
But the Pyromancer's Persistence for Ellie's, seriously try out. If you've got power guys on your team, what's that? Even Condi damage is buffed by might, so what am I talking about? But I'd run it, very, very effective if you're running if you want an offensive team. It's surprisingly good. That was my favorite buff because it's the little things. Oh, actually, speaking of that, the other bit from another favorite of mine was on the Ellie, but it's from a thief point of view, is glyphs actually got fixed, because originally you would interrupt a glyph of, or the res glyph, and they would switch attunements and instantly just pop it again. So now if you interrupt one glyph, you interrupt the glyph on all attunements, which is good. It should be that way, because it's the same goddamn skill. I don't care. So yeah, that's so annoying. But yeah. And finally, guys, I think the big one is Chrono's back.
Yeah, I'm very happy seeing that thing coming back. Yeah, I never see the old glorious days of Chronomancer, but it feels good to see something's coming back and something's going off.
Yeah.
A little shift, a little change is always good.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen some Chronos though? Like, do you see them performing good? What's your observation so far?
For me, I think they're just running like a standard power. Like, I've seen power, I've seen Condi. I think the power is slightly more potent. It just seems like a standard power Mesmer build with a couple of Chrono traits. I feel like it's still got this exact same play style, if that makes sense. So a lot of usually a specialization is there to change the play style. I don't think Chrono does that, but there's some really, really interesting builds out, and making the use of Alacrity is pretty dangerous. So you can get your skills back very quickly. And the Elite CC, I can't remember what it's called, the Well, is pretty insane. If you pop that in a team fight on a small location, it could be pretty crazy, unless they've got stab. But the big
from Mesmer?
Yeah, you know
the well?
Yeah, the Elite Well, Gravity Well, I think it's called.
Yes, Gravity Well.
But no, there's some really interesting changes now. So for those who don't know what the changes are, like I said, go read the patch notes. But it basically, Chrono Shatter skills, you can pop them if you don't have clones, which is huge.
Yeah. I mean, you can do this shout out section. It's all in the description, right?
Yeah. So for those who, like, it's all there.
People go into this really interestingly.
But no, are you guys seeing more Chronos? Because I know I am.
Of course, yeah.
So
Mike was dueling yesterday. He was doing pretty well.
Yeah, it's going to be effective. I wonder how it'll make a scene on the on the whole tournament scene. If we'll see it in the AT, if people are going to start bringing the portal plays back. For me personally, I don't think it's still in a great place, Mesmer.
You remember the team we faced maybe
Llamas?
2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah, Cray Llamas. Cray Llamas.
They were portaling.
Yeah,
and shutting.
Yeah, dude. Cray Llamas, man. Shout out to them. They have spanked us several times running like a
Mesmer and Thief. I think that's the strongest burst.
Oh, dude, it's insane. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Like, they would come in and just delete whoever's on a node, and I like that sort of place. I like fast-paced play styles, so making use of portals.
It's a game changer, right?
Yeah.
It's not static, like, because a lot of Condi and bunkering, that's just static gameplay. You don't see many of those games shift. When you get power gameplay like this, you see a lot of shifts in the games.
Yeah, so my meta back in Guild Wars 1, I'm going to reminisce a little bit, was always the spike meta. I absolutely loved it. Just seeing a health par, like, what more exciting is seeing someone go from 100 to 0 is just so satisfying. Obviously, being at the other end of the stick, it's kind of frustrating to go, where did my health go? But from a spectator point of view, I love seeing a well-coordinated burst with 2 or 3 players deleting someone.
High risk, high reward, right?
Yeah. So that, and going, boom, that's them out, you're outnumbered. But then the other team could still have 3 players who are all offense, delete somebody on your team, and going back and forth like that, instead of, I'm going to spam a load of AoE, spam conditions, and stand there for 5 minutes fighting each other and trying to push each other off a node. It's not exciting. I always think power is the way to go. However, I don't think one build, in order to delete someone from 0 to 100, you should have multiple people, like 3 people bursting down. I don't think one person should ever be able to do it. Like, say, the Thief backstab back in the day of one-shotting. I disagree with that.
I don't.
By the way, guys, excuse me. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. You guys dislike Condi very much. I can understand.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, I understand why, but I think it's too late to do something about it. So I actually enjoy the diversity between power and Condi. I just don't like that things never die but deals damage.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with making bunker builds. Like, if it's what the player wants, sure, by all means. But if a bunker build is able to pressure enough to push you out of the node, or make you lose your important shit to make you open for a +1, I think that's wrong.
Yeah,
if something is not dying, it shouldn't be able to pressure you after a point. You know?
I agree. Having roles in the game, it's almost the community's created their own. So you've got roamer, you've got team fighter, you've got a support, and you've got a side noder. Now, a side noder, you either go crazy damage or sustain, but when a class is able to do both, or 2 or more, I think that's wrong. So if you go, I'm making a sustain build, I'm going to stand on this node, and I'm going to be the most annoying person, they're not going to be able to kill me, I can fight a 1v2. That class should not be able to kill anyone.
Well,
yeah, that's how I feel.
That's
too.
how I.
Yes.
But the problem with Condis is that it's usually matched to sustain, so they can stand there, stack a lot of Condis, and then that's how it would kill. So Condis, you should be able to apply them. I'm fine with Condis that way, but it's matched with the sustain that's my bugbear.
But you're still talking about Conquest, right?
Yeah, in Conquest, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think that's a mixture of a lot of things, but like primarily how fast they do and what they do, arena, and how much the community adapts certain meta builds, right? So since Zen demolished everybody with nades in Mota, everybody's running nades, and it's it's the strongest build probably. Side note, right?
I would argue, yeah. It's just...
This is the adaptation of the community, what builds it runs, but still, I just wanted to say, this is a perfect segue. This is why I want to create 5v5s with specific 5v5 spells. We could do that. Why not?
Yeah, so,
why not? We can try.
I know that the future of the arena labs, the in-house leagues, is to have constant scrims with players, instead of just going into unranked and not knowing if you've got bots on your team, if you've got good players. You can go in and almost strategize and go,
Yeah, and balanced games composition in teams too. So not like a legendary team against a low plat team, but a mixed team in that regard.
Yeah, so then we can all help each other. But yeah, that's basically the
That's
overall
cool.
aim, isn't it? I think we've covered a lot of the update stuff. If those who are wanting to see it a bit more in depth, I suggest you either look on the wiki, look on the forums, watch some of the videos of the guys who've gone in depth. We're not, like I said, we're not gonna.
Yeah,
bore you
wait
with
a
the
second.
details.
So I sensed some outcasting against legendary players, Craola.
What?
What was that? Not like legendary players into plats. Like there's not much of those players, you know.
I think
They're
he
like
meant he's not gonna.
numbered.
I think he's not
And,
gonna put them in
No,
scrim.
a lot of
It's-
players-
We need them.
Yeah.
We need them. We need to get stomped by them. So we can understand how fucking suck we are. You know?
No, he's saying
That's
where
true,
we're
that's
not gonna have them all on one team.
Oh yeah.
And just roll over us for 5 games.
what's the purpose of learning? Like if you're gonna have a five-man team that's
Yeah.
stomping everybody.
Yeah, let's just.
anyway.
Oh yeah, that's of course.
Make
of course,
a
but,
balance. They get two of the of 5 really good ones. Take 2 and put them on one team and 3 on the other, and like make a more balanced.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're gonna,
with
obviously not gonna have like
specific
terrible.
compositions. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, of course, man.
I
Of
need
course.
specific commentating on that. So when the games start, there's 2 of us talking about what's going on specifically.
Yeah.
Sint does it best on his stream, but he only does it for Thief, right? So this is where we try to do it for everything, as you said, Sneaks.
Yeah.
Very well.
But I think that covers everything, guys. So I think that's a pretty good episode 1. So thank you for those who've stuck around to the end.
Yeah,
Listen to
let's hope
us.
the file isn't corrupt.
Yeah. Oh yes. Let's hope nothing happens to the file. But yeah, thanks for those who are listening. If you do want to get involved with these in-house leagues that we're talking about, and wanting to improve, feel free to message us in game or on Discord. We'll include all our Discord and in-game names below. Drop us a message. We'll give you the password and the details, and we can get involved there. So yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, thanks.